been a while since we've done some filming, mostly because I had a massive accident and I've been off work for several months. So we're back at it now. The lads have been working still. We've got subbies and people doing all sorts, but there's a lot to catch up with. So I've been catching up now the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I've been catching up for the last couple of weeks, and I just thought, you know, I'm going to start doing some filming. Whilst we've got a lot on, we've got quite a lot of diverse stuff going on, and I thought it'd be interesting to start filming again and showing you some of the things we're doing. So today, I'm in day 2 of a job. I was here yesterday afternoon, started this job. This is a large, big engineering and fabrication firm. They do sort of big engineering infrastructure stuff, big pipe work, aluminium and things like that. It's a really interesting place because it's sort of heavy industrial, sort of dirty, filthy, sort of industrial type environment with big presses, welders, big massive lathe machines and tooling machines. And then they've got another side to it where they've got giant machinery like big presses and big furnaces and folding machines. And then they've also got a lab as well where they do a lot of testing. They've got x-ray booths and things like that. So it's quite an interesting environment, quite an interesting place. It's a place that I've been coming now for a very long time, probably about 10 years plus. When we first came here, they were sort of like very much old regulations and a bit of the old guard. And over the years, they've really changed and been really on board with health and safety and fire safety. So we've got about 60 plus extinguishers to service. There's a mixture of everything here. There's pretty much everything here apart from wet chemical. There's powders, which are suitable because obviously the welding environment. And also we've got two large 60 litre foam fire extinguisher trolleys, which are pressurised with a separate CO2 system. So they're quite interesting to use. In fact, the trolleys are probably on the screen now. The trolleys, I think, are both due their 5-year extended service. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to have a word with the health and safety manager here and say if we're going to have to discharge them in their yard and do an extended service, probably come back and do that in a week or two, then why don't we arrange some basic free of charge training. We do their fire marshal training here for them once a year. They have all their full team of lads fire marshal trained from both shifts. And it kind of makes sense to say, well, why don't we get them guys together and show them how to use the trolleys, because the trolleys are a little bit different to using a normal extinguisher. There's a few procedures you want to follow and just sort of think things through, and it's just a good opportunity for them to have a go on it. So we'll probably try and do that. So without further ado, we're going to crack on and get in there and hopefully show you some of the things we're doing here. We only do the extinguishers here, but we do sort of their go-to guy for general fire safety. We do their risk assessment, we do their fire marshals, but we don't do their alarm or their emergency lighting or anything like that. Although I don't think so. I think we may have done their emergency lighting actually. I think we've got to do that. We've got probably due to do their emergency lighting as well actually, the EMLs. So yeah, we'll crack on and hopefully there's some interesting stuff to show you. All right, see you in a bit. It's quite noisy in the main factory there, so I've come into, this is one of the small testing areas that they've got here. A little bit quieter, so can I explain a few things. I filmed a few things in the factory there that are probably going to be on the screen now, just about signage really. So signage and fire points, and having a proper actual fire points are kind of really crucial nowadays, especially in an environment like this, in this sort of building where you've got big distances to travel between fire exits and escape routes and things like that. This is a typical example. We've got to tidy this up now.
extinguisher's fine. I mean, they're kind of tucked away a little bit. The emergency exit's on the opposite side there. I think ideally what we want to do is we want to bring the extinguishers round to this side here on the exit, so it's next to the core point. Makes more sense. But what we want to do is we want to actually put a big fire extinguisher sign high enough so you can see it from a distance, and that's what we're going to kind of do in the other parts of the factories. There was a couple of signs I filmed, one where we've already put it up. So last year when we came, we picked up a couple of these things up as well, and then I think we need to probably sit down, have probably a little chat with them and say what we need to do is come back and go through all these signage and things like that, and just make it nice and clear, make everything really sensible, and reposition things. Also in the factory there was a section where there was a emergency exit like this, and there was obviously no extinguishers at all next to it, and that's something that we need to rectify really. In an environment like this, every single emergency exit should have a fire point and an extinguisher with it. It's common sense stuff. Basically, if there's a fire and you go to the nearest exit or you're on the way out, you can grab an extinguisher and then tackle the blaze coming back. That way you've always got the exit behind you. Likewise, if you go to where the fire extinguisher is, the fire extinguisher is next to the exit, so you're basically putting yourself between you are putting yourself between the fire and the exit. So if the fire overwhelms you or you can't tackle it with the fire extinguisher, you've always got the exit behind you to get out of. So it's common sense stuff. So every exit should always have a fire extinguisher and a fire point there. I'd like to see, especially in an environment like this, break glass point, fire exit sign, break glass point, fire action sign, and the correct extinguishers for that location. So right, we'll crack on with this one. Like I say, this will be something we'll probably come and rectify in the near future. So this is a big site, like I say, 60 plus extinguishers. So what we do initially with these 2 days we come around, that's just purely servicing. So we're going to go around and servicing. I also showed you in there was like a really sort of dirty, a lot of dirty, dusty environments. It's very much the nature of the business they've got here, and it can't be avoided. But what we can do, I think we need to recommend some protection for some of the extinguishers. A couple of the extinguishers we're servicing were just like full of grime and grease and dirt, and they were just like literally just like, you couldn't even tell they were red. They were like looked like powder. The extinguisher had gone off and the powder was all over them. So I think what we need to do there is probably address that by putting some solid cabinets on the wall, plastic fire extinguisher cabinets, and housing the extinguishers in there, again with big correct signage, and then if they're on fire they can open the cabinet and get it out that way. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. Also showed you the trolley there. So we've got 2 of those trolleys. 60 litre foam trolleys they are. They're operated with a CO2 cylinder. So what we have to do with those CO2 cylinders, we have to try and get a replacement of those. Not always easy. Sometimes, unfortunately these days, it's just easier to replace the entire unit. It's a lot more expensive to do that way, or it's a bit of an awkward one. I like to repair them, replace them. So what we'll do is we'll go to our local pressurised cylinder guy, is local to us, and what we'll probably do is we'll probably do 1 trolley at a time. Or actually saying that, I think I've got 2 of those extinguishers, those 2 cylinders there. So we'll go and get 2 of those pressure tested, get them refilled so we can put a nice stamp and a date on one of those CO2s. We'll bring them back. Then we can do that training that we talked about, where we get the 60 litre foams, show them some basic training with them, get some guys using it, get them familiar with it. You know, giving them some good advice and giving them some skills to use that. And then we will swap those cylinders out, and then I'll take the 2 CO2s away. And they'll go either sat in the unit until we need to get them pressure tested. We don't come across a lot of those 60 litre foam cylinders, and they kind of changed the way they're designed now, so the new ones are slightly different. I still do like those ones. They're really, really useful. We've got some motorsport venues. They're really good for that. You can mount them. We've done custom jobs where we've put them in the back of trucks, put them back of cars, and that enables them to become like a little mini fire engine, especially on a motorsport track, go-karting tracks, things like that. So yes, that's quite useful. But yeah, it's I like them because they're nice to work on, to be honest with you. And I think when we come back, like I say, today's basic service day, getting everything serviced, and then we'll compile a list of remedials, and then we'll come probably back in the next month or so and get those remedials done. The only remedials we do today are the basic extended servicing. So if a fire extinguisher is out of date, it requires its 5-year replacement or its 10-year replacement, depending on the type. We'll pretty much get that done today. So we've got a couple of those to do, and then and yeah, and crack on. All right.